channel, baby.
Yeah.
What it do, baby? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy Hav. We about to get into some more reactions today. Hope y'all enjoying y'all hump day. Today's Wednesday, so it's hump day. You dig? Hope y'all enjoying it today, man. It's a beautiful day outside. I don't know where you guys are at, but pretty nice day out here where I'm at. But anyway, man, we about to get into some more reactions. This one's going to be a CNN. You know what I mean? So shout out to CNN. This could be a Van Jones shows a message Charlie Kirk sent him one day before he was killed. Now, if anybody's been, watching, Charlie Kirk or maybe even CNN, you guys know that Van Jones and Charlie Kirk, they wasn't the best of friends. You know what I'm saying? They was always beefing. Van Jones always had some kind of comment to say about what Charlie Kirk is saying or whatever the case may be. So I'm interested to see what this video is going to be about, as far as him showing the message that Charlie Kirk sent him, allegedly the day before he passed away. So let's get into it though, man. CNN, Van Jones, let's get it.
Students at Utah Valley University gathered to pay tribute to Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated on their campus just 9 days ago. The vigil comes ahead of Sunday's funeral for Kirk. Tens of thousands are expected to attend, including President Trump. His murder and some unexpected outreach that Kirk made the day before his death had resonated with our CNN colleague Van Jones. The story begins when a Ukrainian woman was fatally stabbed last month in North Carolina. The suspect is a black man, and Charlie Kirk and Van got into a public sparring match online. Kirk claimed the murder happened because she was white. Van denounced that as completely unfounded. Kirk then sent out what Van...
Wait, hold on. Let's go back a little bit so you guys can kind of catch up with, what's going on with Van and Charlie.
His death had resonated with our CNN colleague Van Jones. The story begins when a Ukrainian woman was fatally stabbed last month in North Carolina. The suspect is a black man, and Charlie Kirk and Van got...
Now, you guys recall the young lady who unfortunately lost her life. I think it was on a bus, a train, something like that, when a black man was sitting behind her, got up and started stabbing her, in the neck and whatnot. I believe that's what he's referring to. So I think that's where everything kind of stemmed from. So, all right, let's go.
Death had resonated with our CNN colleague Van Jones. The story begins when a Ukrainian woman was fatally stabbed last month in North Carolina. The suspect is a black man, and Charlie Kirk and Van got into a public sparring match online. Kirk claimed the murder happened because she was white. Van denounced that as completely unfounded. Kirk then sent out what Van calls a fire hose of tweets challenging his argument, which Van says sparked death threats against him. In the midst of all of this, Kirk reached out to Van in a direct message on X. "Hey Van, I mean it. I'd love to have you on my show to have a respectful conversation about crime and race. I would be a gentleman, as I know you would be as well. We can disagree about the issues agreeably." And that message was sent on September 9th. Van says he did not see it until the very next day after Kirk was murdered. Van Jones just wrote a piece about this for CNN.com and is here tonight. This is extraordinary. So this was received the day before he was killed.
Yeah, look, we were beefing. We were going at it online, on air, and then after you died.
I apologize for pausing, but I just have to point out, it just goes to show what kind of character that Charlie Kirk has, had. Even though they was beefing, Van, had words to Charlie and whatnot, Charlie was still respectful. You know what I'm saying? He still reached out to Van and said, hey, I would like for you to come on to the show. We can have a debate, a conversation, about crime and race, respectfully. We can respect one another, and I'm sure that you will be, a gentleman, and likewise. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of people that has issues with one another, they don't reach out to that person in that kind of way. You know what I'm saying? In a respectful type of way. So, again, it just shows what type of character that Charlie Kirk, had. So, I just wanted to point that out.
He was killed.
Yeah, look, we were beefing. We were going at it online, on air, and then after you died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, Van, he was trying to reach you, man. What? And what was he doing? dialogue. Let's be gentlemen together. He says, let's disagree agreeably. So I'm sitting on this and I'm watching the whole country talk about civil war, censorship, justifying murder about this guy. This guy is reaching out to his mortal enemy saying we need to be gentlemen, sit down together and disagree agreeably. And the next day he's killed. And I've sat on it long enough and I just said, you know what? We're going to Memorial Weekend for this man. We disagree. Everybody knows we were not friends, okay? At all. But you praise the good when it's time to memorialize somebody. And what he did, and I didn't even know it, was good. He was not for censorship. He was not for civil war. He was not for violence. He was for dialogue, open debate and dialogue, even with me. Even with me.
If, would you have gone on his show? Would you have done
No, look, I would have probably tried to get him on your show. I mean, I wasn't trying to build this platform, but I would have called him, we would have talked, and we would have started the process of trying to figure this stuff out. And I think...
See, it's a comment he just made, Van. He says that, you know, he would have tried to put him on CNN opposed to Charlie Kirk's platform because, like, as what he says, he don't want to build his platform up. Well, Charlie Kirk's platform was already built. You know what I'm saying? He was getting lots of recognition, you know, lots of traffic, lots of engagement, you know, on his platform already. And if you didn't really have nothing personal against him, why not go onto his platform? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't know, man. Well, let's see what he has to say.
on his show? Would you have done?
No, look, I would have probably tried to get him on your show. I mean, I wasn't trying to build this platform, but I would have called him, we would have talked, and we would have started the process of trying to figure this stuff out. And I think what happens is people get so worked up, Anderson, seeing us go at it, they think they're supposed to go out and kill somebody, or go out and talk about civil war, or go out and silence people, or cancel people, or fire people, or censor people. About Charlie Kirk, Mr. Debate, I did not agree with him on literally almost anything. But we were words, not weapons, guys. We were words, not weapons, guys. And we were getting into a position where we could get some real debate going, whether it's going to be on CNN, on his show. That wasn't worked out. But I would have taken him up. I wanted to beat Charlie Kirk in a debate. I didn't want somebody to shoot him. That's how we do it in America. And the idea that now people on both sides are justifying murders and calling for civil wars, we got to calm this down, Anderson. We need to calm this down. We need to lower the temperature. Yes, we disagree, but like he said, we can disagree agreeably. That's his last words to me. Let's disagree agreeably. We should take that spirit into the Memorial Weekend for this guy.
You also wrote that in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murders, Americans have a choice. They can choose more violence, more outrage, more censorship, or a different way. It's similar to what the governor in Utah, Spencer Cox, has said in recent days.
Yeah, look, he's a Republican. He's saying the same thing I'm saying. I'm a strong Democrat. We have a choice now. This could be the beginning of us getting off of this pathway, but the pathway we're on, Anderson, is scary. It's about more violence, it's about more retribution, it's about more censorship, it's about more of everything that nobody wants. But we can't seem to get off of it. Charlie Kirk in his last message to me was pointing a way out. Civil discourse, civil dialogue, debate, let's disagree agreeably. If you want to get off this train, we can do it this weekend.
Ben Jones, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
If you live in a California zip code,
You know, it's kind of sad that they weren't able to reconcile their differences, you know, before Charlie Kirk, before Charlie Kirk passed away. And again, you know, I look at life like, you know, first of all, life can be really short. For number one, let's start there, right? Life can be short, you know, and I think that, you know, you shouldn't hate somebody so much to where you don't want to speak to them, or, you know, you may wish bad upon them. And I'm not saying that Van Jones wished bad upon Charlie. I doubt that very seriously. But Charlie did reach out to him, to sit down, to have a conversation, to have a dialogue about crime and race. And it goes to show that, again, life is short, man. You know what I mean? So there's no need to be, as he says, beefing, with people like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a lot of things that Van, I'm sure, feels strongly about that a lot of people may not agree with him. But does that mean that we may hate him? No. It just means that we disagree. And here's why we disagree. And that's where the conversation comes in at. I don't think that, again, I don't think he, wished anything bad upon him. I don't think he's that kind of guy. If he is, it would surprise me. Yes, he's a Democrat. He lets that be known. But again, I don't feel like it should never get that. It should never go that far. It should never go that far. You know what I'm saying? I wonder how he truly feels about, Charlie Kirk passing without him giving the opportunity to have a conversation with him, And who knows? They could have had a conversation. They could have became friends. You know what I'm saying? Because once you sit down and actually have a conversation with somebody, you guys can kind of get a better understanding of who that person is. Just because you don't agree with me on 90% of the things I may say, that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It just means that my views are slightly different from yours. People who's watching me right now, y'all may not like me. Y'all may not want to see me at all. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. You may not agree with some of the things that I say, but that don't mean I'm a bad person. You're not a bad person either. Some people may not agree with what you're saying. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You know what I mean? So, again, man, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk, man. It's still a sad situation, that it happened. It's like this world is crazy, man. It's crazy. It's like you cannot, it goes back to what I was saying. You cannot speak how you feel without certain people literally taking it to heart. You know what I mean? To where they want to do some harm to you. And it's scary. It really is. Even on the platform that I'm on, that Will was on, the other day I'm with my mom. Went to Wingstop. And this guy next door, I'm not next door, but next to me in the car, he was like leaning in, leaning in through the window, and he's like, "Half." And I'm looking like, who's this guy? And he's like, "Man, what's up, man? I be watching you guys' channel all the time, da-da-da-da-da." The scary part of that is, they know what we look like, but I don't know what they look like. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that he didn't agree with a lot of things that was being said on the channel. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was a Democrat, and didn't like what we was talking about. And maybe he might want to do something to me. You know what I'm saying? That's the part that be scary when you're on the platform doing what you're doing, because, again, you don't know what these people look like, but they know what you look like. So, fortunately, he was a good guy, you know what I mean? We shook hands and everything like that. But, again, when you're on the platforms like this and you're talking about certain topics and things like that, you gotta be careful when you're just out there in public, man. You really have to be careful when you're out there in public, so. But anyway, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you for tuning in. I love you guys, man. Always make sure you guys keep God first. And until next time, catch you later. Peace.